These Cornfield people are pretty nice too.
I'm over here in Buffalo at Cabela's in the back garage there, working on Joe's boat. Right now I'm getting ready to open up the box to a Cornfield fishing gear live sweep module. What we're going to do, we're going to put Joe's Active Target on that, which will then go onto a Terrova trolling motor. So I'm going to get this thing unboxed and we'll get it installed, and I'll take you through that process. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is to deploy the trolling motor, and then we're going to put the lower bracket on. And the reason is that with this type of trolling motor, the lower bracket is pretty much fixed near the head, or near the base plate. Okay, that's about the only thing that's fixed on this, other than the one on the top shaft. But everything moves up and down, so it becomes very critical to get this positioned properly, and then everything else is balanced off that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly tighten this lower bracket up, knowing that we're going to have to move it later during our alignment adjustment procedures. Okay, so we'll get that tightened down, and then we'll move from there. Next, we'll put the live sweep shaft in there, which has the motor on the head. So we'll just drop that in the hole there, and then make sure that when we bring it, put it in the hole there, we drop it slowly, otherwise we'll run into the trolling motor down below. Okay. No, I should not take these. You know why? Because you're going to have to adjust them. Next, we're going to put the bracket on the top. This goes up near, it basically goes under the head of the mount, but it mounts up higher, much higher up on the shaft of the trolling motor. You can see how we've got it mounted right here. That's it up on the trolling motor. There's double collars, a collar on both sides. Below it is the height adjustment of the trolling motor. So this is another view of it from the boat side. See, it's pretty simple and clean once you've figured out what the angles are. Now it's time to put the mount the cable clamp up top and up on the bottom. And the nice thing is this cable is already stuffed in the curly cable holder. And basically what we did is we had the active target on the boat prior to this. We just took it off to put the mount on. So now what we're going to do is do the alignment. In this case, I didn't have a plumb bob, but we're just simply going to use a drop shot weight and hook, and then I'm going to mark the shaft, and then you'll be able to see what it looks like once I get all done. Right now I'm screwing on the transducer mount. The transducer mount itself, we're not tightening up completely because we're going to replace it because it actually got damaged. So it's time to put the transducer on the mount. Then we're going to attach the brackets for the cable holders up at the bottom down there, up on the bottom, and put it up on top as well. And, so let's see what it's going. So this is what the alignment mark is. You can see the alignment mark I made on the shaft, and it just lines up the center of the clamp. This is our lower clamp, and this is the upper cable clamp. So now we're about ready to go ahead and get everything done. So we're back in the boat now. We decided that what we're going to do is we're going to put the control board into the bow panel over there to the behind me there. And so what I did is I started off with a short piece of power cable, about 2 feet long roughly. I got to strip the wires back, and then that's going to get mounted between the power leads on the control module, and it's going to get hooked into the fuse block with a 5-amp fuse according to the instructions. Basically put both connectors on there. I'm using number 8 ground connectors, and then what I do is I temporarily connect it to the fuse block to basically so that I can do a little testing to make sure the unit itself or the drill head works. To make it easier, what I did is I took a sheet of paper, I wrote down every wire where it went on that position on that control module. Makes life so much simpler when you're putting it back together like I am doing now. What I'm doing now is I'm modifying, or I'm basically adding heat shrink on the cables to pretty much waterproof. This is a hole that I had to drill in the Bass Boat Technologies mount so I can run the cables through it. So what I'm doing now is just simply running the cables through. You have to run them through one at a time. I've got 3 cables: that the transducer cable, the control cable, and then the foot pedal cable. Okay, so all those go through that one hole. So now what I'm doing is I'm setting up and using double-sided 3M tape, and that's pretty much a permanent tape. And then what I'll do is I'll peel the back off when I'm ready to mount it in the bow panel there. So now after I've done that, I go ahead and use my list, and now I'm going to put all the wires back together into the module here and make sure they're right and tighten them down really good. Be careful not to press that gray button, otherwise you have to reset the remote. Okay, so there's the completed module ready to go, ready to get inserted in the boat. So there's the module. You can see it back in the corner there. What I did is I mounted it with the double-sided tape. I pulled the tape off, red cover off of it, and mounted it against the hull. There's the fuse block that I put the power to. So now we're putting the bow back together, getting everything together. You can see the cables on the left-hand side there. I'm screwing a cover. The cover is in the description here. There's a link there for you. I'm putting the mount back together. Now I got the units on. Now it's ready. I'm ready to test everything. And what happens on this boat, the way I had it networked, is that I have to turn the bow unit on, or sorry, the console unit on to get it to work. Now I'm going to do a little deployment testing. Okay, we basically want to make sure we can stow and deploy this trolling motor easily with it on there. The Altera and the Terrova, like this one, are a little bit different to deploy. So what we're doing now is I'm checking the movement tests, make sure everything clears, doesn't hit the pole, doesn't hit anything. We were hitting the pole earlier before we did some adjustments to the brackets. So now we tested it with a remote control, then we retested it with the foot pedal. Again, you need to test with both, make sure both units are working properly, making sure that it's hitting the limits. Okay, and that's what we're doing now, making sure it hits the 2 end limits. So the very last thing is I want to check it in the stowed position to make sure that if he accidentally hits the movement buttons on the live sweep, it's not going to hit anything, not going to break anything. See when it comes down, it's a little tight on this side. See it move just slightly. Okay. So you want to check all those clearances. Well, there you have it. We've got the live sweep all installed, the transducer ready to go, and you can see the alignment mark on the shaft there, just in case we have to do it again. There's everything. There's a lower mount bracket. You can see how actually the silver shaft is sliding up and down in the mounts there. Okay, and then we got the upper mount, the cable holder there. The cables, in this case, we haven't finished tie wrapping them, but they are completely tie wrapped now. Hey, if you like it, please subscribe if you want to see more of this type of work. Thank you. I appreciate you guys watching this. Please like and subscribe the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.